Blush can be a game changer when it comes to brightening and lifting up the face, but as we get older, certain techniques or formulas can actually do the opposite. They can collapse the face right down, and it can do it pretty much instantly. The changes that our faces go through as we age, such as fine lines, texture, and sagging, it can make blush a little bit tricky. But don't worry, because with these hacks, you'll know exactly how to apply it in a way that enhances your natural beauty without emphasizing any of those problematic areas. Let me show you how. My first tip is to perfect your placement. One common mistake is applying blush too low on the cheeks. One thing that I see a lot of people doing, and something that I am guilty of doing as well, I'm trying to not do it anymore, but that is to smile and place the blush to the apples of the cheeks. That technique can look really beautiful, okay, when you have a younger, fuller, more lifted face. But as we get older, when we stop smiling, our faces have lost volume, so the apples have dropped. So when we don't smile, our apples are lower. So all of a sudden, that blush that you placed up here is now super low on the face, almost hitting this nasolabial area. This placement will drag the face down and completely collapse it. Instead, what you want to do is apply it much higher on the cheekbones than maybe even feels natural to you, and blend upwards towards the temple. This will give your face a lifted and much more youthful appearance. There are two visualization tricks that I use here in order to know where to place it. So the first one I actually learned from Wayne Goss. I'll link his video in the description box below in case you guys want to check it out after this one. I found it to be quite helpful. And that trick is to imagine a line coming from the outside of your eye and moving downwards. You want to place the blush starting at that line and then blend outwards and upwards. You can go a little bit into that line as well to soften it and blend it, but really the majority of the blush should be from that line upwards. The second visualization trick is to put two fingers beside your nose and start your blush there. It ends up being pretty much the same area as the first trick, but sometimes it's just helpful to see things in a different way. You can really see the difference here between an apple blush placement and a more lifted blush placement using the exact same color of blush. So all I changed here was the placement. My second tip is to use a light hand and build the pigment up gradually. It's easier to add more product than it is to take it away, especially when it comes to blush. So start with a small amount of pigment on your brush, tap off the excess, and build it up slowly. This will give you more control, and it will ensure that you don't overdo it, which can look heavy or just really unflattering, especially on mature skin. If for whatever reason you end up with too much pigment on your cheek, we've all been there, you don't have to wash your face and start again. You can soften it up by going over that area with a translucent powder and a nice clean brush. My third tip is to invest in the right tools. Tools are everything when it comes to makeup. I often see people using brushes that are way too big for their cheek size. If you go in with a brush that doesn't fit your face properly, you'll end up with way too much product all over the cheek area that you then have no control over. It's too low, it's too spread out, it's way too much. The brush is way too big. You also, though, do not want to go in with a brush that has densely packed bristles, because these types of brushes pick up too much pigment and they deposit too much pigment. So it's very hard to get a diffused look with a brush like this one. You just won't be able to soften the look. It will be like a blob of color on your cheeks. So instead of these, you want to find nice fluffy brushes that are a little bit smaller, that allow you to have more control over your placement. The size of the brush that you choose will be very much dependent on the size of your face. Okay, if you have a bigger face, you can go with a bigger brush. If you have a smaller or a narrower face, you're gonna go with a smaller brush. So some of the brushes that I find really good for this, that I reach for time and time again with lots of different clients with all different types of face sizes and shapes, is the Rephr 05. This is a beautiful rounded brush. It's nice and small, so it fits perfectly in that cheekbone. Another great brush is the Swede blush brush. I just discovered Swede recently. They have some great products, including a beautiful blush, but the blush brush is great. I love that it has this angle to it. It's a little bit tapered, so it fits again right into that cheekbone area. And of course, my love, BK Beauty. You guys know how I feel about BK Beauty. I love their brushes so much. I find 107 to be a fantastic brush, especially for mature skin. It's fluffy, it's soft, and again, it's nice and small. My fourth tip is to experiment with some cream formulas. Mature skin often benefits from cream or liquid blushes over powders, and that's for a few different reasons. For one, mature skin does have a tendency to get more dry, or it gets drier over time. I know that this isn't the case for everyone. I hear you loud and clear in my comment section. I do, but it certainly is the case for the majority of people, and that's because of biology, right? And the truth is that flat, dull-looking skin is aging on everyone, no matter what your age. That type of skin is more aging. So if you wanna look more youthful, you wanna bring some luminosity back into the face. A super easy way to do that is by prioritizing cream makeup products wherever you can, and then just strategically powdering the areas that are too shiny for your liking, like the center of the face, with a very finely milled powder. Cream formulas tend to melt beautifully into the skin, and it gives you a really natural dewy finish rather than sitting on top of the skin, potentially emphasizing fine lines or dryness. It gives you that lit from within, very natural, glowy flush. I do have to say though, that when using a cream blush, instead of applying it directly to the face, I always suggest applying it to the back of your hand first, swirling it on your blush brush to evenly distribute the pigment, and then applying that on the cheek. Just like with a powder blush, you wanna use a light hand and you wanna build that blush up gradually. It's really hard to blend out cream blush if you go in too hard at first. If you are all about powder blushes, by all means, definitely continue with them. If you like how they look, you're happy with it, continue with them. But if you wanna try a cream or liquid blush formula, then here are some that I recommend. One that's very user-friendly, that has beautiful pigment, isn't too strong and hard to blend out, and has a gorgeous glow are by Laura Geller. These are the Serum Blush Cheek Tints. I have the color Practical Pink and Poppy Peach. It's a tongue twister if I ever saw one. They come with this sponge tip applicator. You can dot it on the cheek. I like to dot it on the hand, put my brush on my hand, and then use it that way. But they do have the sponge tip applicator. If you're lazy, you're just gonna do it with your fingertips. These are beautiful, they really are. They're very, very user-friendly, especially for beginners. Another cream blush that I really like is by Merit. I don't necessarily recommend this color if you have mature skin because it might be a little bit strong, but these Flush Balms are great. They come in lots of different colors. They are beautiful to apply. The formula itself is really creamy and blendable and convenient. Another new release that is gorgeous are the Giorgio Armani blushes. These are called Luminous Silk Cheek Tint. The Luminous Silk collection in Giorgio Armani is always exceptional. The foundation's amazing, the concealer's amazing. They have so many beautiful products, and these blushes are another one of those beautiful products from the Armani line. They also have lovely, lovely, lovely colors. Yves Saint Laurent also launched a liquid blush. These are called Make Me Blush liquid blushes. And again, these are also incredibly beautiful. All of these are more on the luxury side, so they're a little bit more expensive, but you do get your bang for your buck when it comes to luxury cream blushes. They are worth spending the money on because they are so beautiful. They're just exceptional products. If you're on a budget though, I will tell you that L'Oreal has launched this recently. This is the Lumi Le Liquid Blush. This is really nice. I just picked this up a couple of days ago. I am finding it beautiful. The formulation is great, blends like a dream. It's gorgeous. And I've mentioned a few times before, the NYX Sweet Cheeks, the soft cheek tint. I really like this one too. This one comes in a wand applicator like this. It has a bit more of a foamy texture, less of a liquid texture. So some people I think will really gravitate towards this more cushiony texture as opposed to something that's a little bit more liquidy. My fifth tip is to pick the right shade. The right shade can make all of the difference in the world. For mature skin, it's best to opt for soft natural tones. So you wanna think peaches, roses, or mauve tones. We say mauve here in Canada. Do you say mauve? I don't know. Bright pinks or too dark shades can be really harsh and actually make the skin look a lot older. I also find that bronzer shades, so those really warm browns, used alone, don't do enough on mature skin. Okay, you really do need a pop of soft color to brighten and lift up the face. I really cannot stress enough that bronzer is not blush. You want to use both because they do different things. Bronzer warms up the skin, blush brightens the face, brightens and lifts up the cheekbones. They're totally different products. I often see people using bronzer as blush. Bronzer isn't blush. When it comes to choosing a blush color, it's a good idea to look for something that mimics your natural flush, because that's gonna be super flattering, and something that stays in the same undertone as you. So if you are warm, you wanna choose things that are peachy and warm, like this. If you are cool, you wanna choose cool base blushes like this. You can see, because I'm warm, how terrible this would look on me, but this would look absolutely beautiful on a cool skinned, lighter toned woman with blonde hair, for example. You wanna stay within your undertone. That's very important. If you want me to do an entire video about my favorite blushes and their specific colors for specific undertones in mature skin, please let me know. I'll definitely do that for you. This is how my beautiful model Penny looks with no blush on. This is how she looks with a flattering powder blush placed in the correct area. And this is how she looks with the cream blush placed in the correct area. You can clearly see here how the cream blush offers a little more luminosity, while the powder blush is still very flattering, just a little bit more matte. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. This video's over.